Hello, happy Sunday. I'm getting ready to go on a live stream, and I am currently, I am currently uploading my booktube video. I have to show you this. This is so cute. So Shell sent us 3 of those beds that I showed you guys in the video the other day. You guys, this is so cute. Let me show you. Well, Tucker just got up, but he was sitting down on his bed. Sit down, honey. Look at them. They love it. Earlier, Boo was on his bed. Tucker was on his. And look at Pee-Pee. He loves it. Pee-Pee, you love your bed so much, don't you, sweetie? The other side is like this soft cotton, but they like this side better. You do, don't you? You love it. Say thank you, Aunt Shell. Thank you, Aunt Shell. We love our new beds. So, yeah. So, that is. And we watched Polar Express. And we watched Ziggy's Gift, which is like my favorite Christmas cartoon, I think, next to the Fat Albert's Christmas. And, I am getting ready to put up my booktube video. My nose is driving me crazy. It is really cold, you guys. It is like, I think I might need to turn the heat up. Why is it not letting me monetize this video? Oh, there it is. Whatever you want, anything you want done, baby, I do it. Okay, so I'm getting ready to do a live stream, so I'm excited about that. I haven't done a live stream like in a week, so I need to do one, but I'm trying to get this video up first, of which I'm a little worried about because it's like, I did a booktube video and about booktube drama. I'm sure this is the Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay. I don't know why I just crossed my arms. So, it's up. Something different today. It's up. The booktube video is up. Oh my god, I'm 99 subscribers away from 11,000 subscribers on booktube. That's kind of cool. I love booktube so much. So let me get out of all of this. Let me go back in here and see. I'm charging my phone in the other room. I was just texting with Alex. He had his conference today, and then he was supposed to go to brunch at Lavo with his cousin. His cousin Maya lives there, and they're both like really into EDM music. And then she wanted to take a nap because she had to work today. She's the one that was in that shooting thing that happened out there, and she drove him over there and showed him where it was and all that kind of stuff. And then so she took a nap, so he went back to the room. The girl that he went with, well, he went with her and her mom. It's like his boss, and his mom and her mom, and then her brother is also at the same conference because they're both in the same business. But like the woman that Alex went with, that's like one of his really good friends, she got like this like infection, and so she had to go to the emergency room last night and get an antibiotic and all this kind of stuff. And so she hasn't been really able to do a whole lot. So Alex has kind of been like on his own and like trying to take care of her and help her. But at the same time, he hasn't been really able to do a whole lot. So I was excited for him to go to this brunch, Lavo brunch. It's like a party. It's like, you know, one of those like club parties. And, but he said that they, damn it, I hate when that happens. But he said that Maya at the last minute, said that she couldn't go because she was too tired. And so he just went back to the room and I guess took a nap or something. He gambled for a little bit. It was really cute. He called me. He goes, okay, I need you to tell me which slot machine to play. And I was like, oh. And so anyway, neither one of those. I'm kind of surprised. I was like looking to see if any of my videos have been demonetized on my main channel, but neither one of them had been. And then I just texted him. I was like, what are you guys doing? Hey guys, it's Peter. I was like, what are you guys doing tonight? And he was like, we are going to Marquee, which is like one of his favorite clubs in the entire world. So he's really excited about that. And that'll be fun for him. He deserves to go have some fun because he has like worked his ass off at this conference all weekend long. So I'm excited for him. He'll have fun at that. And, okay, everything Is my vlog demonetized? I'm just checking this before I get this live stream. And so yeah, he's super excited about that. And so it's my last night of Pee and Peter's Bachelor Weekend. Pee-Pee's been really good. He has only coughed one time in 3 days. Just give you a little update because I know people really ask a lot about questions. People ask a lot about the Jenner Cosmetic site being sued for this reason. Oh, that's interesting. They ask like how Pee-Pee's doing. Pee-Pee is doing, I think, much better. And he has only coughed one time. Now last weekend, you remember, it was like 9 times one day and we were panicked. He's only coughed one time in the last 3 days. I've been taking them out a lot. They've been going out a lot in the yard, just running around and stuff. And he seems completely fine. He seems like how he was before we ever took him to the vet. So, you know, I'm hoping that he's good. I don't know. He seems a little bit more tired sometimes than usual, but he still seems fine to me. Who is live? Let's see. Go live. Anything you want. Here, I'm gonna take my picture. Are you ready for my stream? I'm gonna put more drama. And I'll go under guys. And I'm live. Look at my nose. My nostrils are like 2 different sizes. 1038. Okay. And that's it. And I'm gonna get off here and I will be back on it just a little bit. Love you guys. Okay, I'm doing my live stream, but I just have to show you guys how cute this is. Shell sent us these beds and look at that. My babies are all sleeping on their beds. How cute is that? Okay. So I just finished my live stream. I was like, why is it dark? Because you can't. I'm tired. I could take a nap right now or just go to sleep. It's like 11:45. So this is so cute. Boo Radley keeps on taking his bed over here. And he keeps on like messing it up to get it right. But now he's sleeping on a bed with Tucker. Look, this is so cute. Can you see? If I get up, they will like move. So let me see if I can. Do you see this? Pee-Pee's on one side, then Tucker, there's Tucker, and there's Boo Radley. How cute are those two? See, Boo Radley has to sleep right up against Tucker or he can't sleep. Right, Boo Radley? Right, Boobie? They love their new beds so much. They're so sweet. I keep on trying to get that butt lady picture out of there. So I did my YouNow stream tonight. Oh my God, I'm so obsessed, you guys, with these coffee cake swirls, of which I'm almost out of. I only have 6 more. They're so good. I want to go get more of them. A swirl of cinnamon. Doesn't that look so good too? Coffee cake. I love coffee cake. So yeah, I did my live stream, and I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I like went to, I watched Polar Express earlier. I feel like I want to finish my audiobook. Let's see. I'm listening to, okay. I'm gonna go get a fountain Coke with Tanya, because she said, hold on a second, let me take the dogs out. Let me take the dogs out. She said she'll go get a fountain Coke with me, so I'm gonna take the dogs out, and then I'm going to, I'm gonna get Pee-Pee his medicine, and then I'm gonna go get a fountain Coke with Tanya. And yeah, so that's about that. And then, I cannot believe in 13 minutes I've been sober for, in 13 minutes, I've been sober for 23 years. That's so crazy to me. I don't know what's happened. Like, it's just so surreal to me, you know? Like, I was like looking through my book when I went through treatment, you know, my 12-step book that I got. And like all the people sign it and they say like, you know, like, oh, I'll see you at this meeting or I'll see you at that meeting. And we were all in there together in 1994, you know. And there's like 20 or 30 people in there. And I either don't know where they are or they're dead, except for one guy that is still very active in recovery. And I sometimes think like, why me? You know, like, I'm just so thankful. It's like such a gift. I always feel very spiritual on my sobriety birthday. You know, it's like, you like, I don't know, like, I just never thought like this would be my life, you know. It's like, I remember like my life, like all my memories, I remember all of them very vividly. I remember, you know, being in high school and partying, and I can remember being in college and partying. And if you had like said to me like, you know, 23 years from now, that like last couple months, you guys, was just, it was like literally living hell. Like I did not care if I lived or died. It was so bad. I drank every day, and it wasn't like I was having fun doing it anymore. It just was like out of purpose. And to be 23 and be drinking that way is really sad, you know. And nobody wanted to be around me. I wasn't thinking about Christmas. I wasn't thinking about family. I wasn't thinking about pets or what I could do for somebody else or reading a Christmas book. I wasn't thinking about listening to a Christmas song. I was thinking about where am I going to get my next fix? Where am I going to get the next 20 to pay for a fifth of Jack Daniels? And how am I going to look good so I can get downtown and my friends tonight, we can go out and get drunk? Who can I hit on so I can get free drinks, you know? I sleep with somebody and still, you know, whatever cash they have, and then when they accuse me of it, get shitty and say, well, I can't believe that you would accuse me of that. Who do you think I am, you know? And I look back on all of that, and that's who I was. And then it's like that, but that wasn't really who I was. It was like I was going down this road, you know, and it's like I went off into the desert and I became somebody that I wasn't. And today, this is who I am. This is who I've always been, you know? It's just surreal to me. It's like, and that on top of that, to have like the best friend in the entire world, you know, Tanya, as a result, that I wouldn't have had I not gotten sober. I mean, we never would have met each other. I wouldn't have known her, you know. To have, you know, worked with all the amazing people that I've worked with, you know, to have had all the opportunities I would never be with Alex. I would never have been with any of my exes had I not gotten sober, you know. My relationship, I would have no relationship with my dad. I wouldn't have got to spend any time with my mom had I not gotten sober. Everything that I have in my life, everything, is because of my sobriety, which is why it always comes first above everything else. I've lost friendships because friends were like unwilling to put me in compromising situations that were dangerous for me, and I walked away and said, you're no friend of mine if you're going to put me in a situation like that. And I just stopped being their friend because I had to say, if they really cared about me, they wouldn't put me in a situation, but yet they did, you know. There's something about early sobriety that's so beautiful, you know, the stillness and I don't know, and maybe it's because it happens to me in December, like when it's like cold and snowy and starry outside. And I remember those early days of like after I got out of treatment, you know, going to a meeting with the snow on the ground, and you'd walk outside and you hear the crunch under your boots and smoke a cigarette, like, you know, when it was like 20 degrees or 20 below outside, and get a hot cup of coffee and like hot cup of coffee and a cheeseburger from some cheap ass place and a cigarette afterwards and a good night's sleep. That like was ecstasy, you know, it was luxury. And I look at that and I can remember I used to go to this 12-step club, and they had these cheap ass cheeseburgers, and I don't even like this stuff on a cheeseburger anymore, but I'd say, you know, it was whether you got everything on it or nothing on it, it was like $1.25, plus it came with fries and a large drink, and I'd get, you know, lettuce, onion, tomato, mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, everything, you know, on it, and fries, and I'd sit there and I'd eat that like twice a day. Well, I went to like 4 or 5 meetings a day sometimes, you know, and walk outside and smoke a cigarette, and I had no car, and you know, I'd come home, and then my dad would stop by once a week, and he would take me to the grocery store, and my fridge was filled with like fresh juices and, you know, turkey and things like that. And I remember when I came home from treatment, my dad had my apartment professionally cleaned for me and had my winter coat washed because it had so many cigarette burns in it. It was smelled so bad. And I went to the refrigerator, and he had bought me like, you know, like 5 different kinds of soda and all these fresh squeezed juices and lunch meat and cheese and crackers. And he's such a great guy, you know. He didn't deserve 3% of the shit that I put him through. And today we have a great relationship because of that. And I just think, like, you know, I look back on that and, like, coming home from going to meetings and getting on my knees and praying every night and doing my meditations like I was taught to do in early sobriety, you know, and then watching, like, some movie that I had rented, you know, from the Blockbuster on my way home that I could hardly afford, a $2 rental, you know, and watch it while I'm eating, like, potato chips and having, like, a turkey sandwich before I go to bed at night. Like, that simplicity to me was so beautiful, you know, and it still is. And I think that's why, like, the simple life is so powerful to me, because there's true beauty in that doesn't come in other places in the world. And when you so easily hand that away, and you so easily take it for granted for so many years, it just, when you get it back, you realize how valuable it is. You know, you realize how valuable families are, and relationships, and friends, and dogs, you know, sleeping on a chair. Look at that. You can't buy that, you know? You cannot buy that. It's perfection in this world. That, let me look at this. 3 dogs sleeping on a chair together. It's perfection. And I would have missed all of that. You know, I would have missed all of that. I would have missed Tanya texting me and, you know, how are you doing? And, you know, Alex just sent me this picture of him, and he's standing in Vegas. And I mean, I would have missed all of that. I would have missed talking to his brother today on the phone about, where's my note? You know, what to get Carlitos for Christmas, and 100 free tokens at Chuck E. Cheese because they can't afford to take him to Chuck E. Cheese, and or a play date into a bounce house, and that he wants a hat, Milwaukee's Brewers hat, and Liliana wants a gift card to TJ Maxx. You know, it's like, to be part of that, to show up to somebody's viewing of their child, to be present in life. It's just been magical. It's just been this incredibly magical life and this incredibly magical world. And I feel very, very honored. So I'm going to go take the dogs out, and then I'm going to go pick up Tanya, and I will, if I decide that I just want to drive around, listen to some music, and be peaceful tonight, I might not film anymore. But if I decide that I have some things that I feel like I need to say, I probably will. I am also going to the casino tonight because it is my sobriety birthday, which makes no sense. That's a bullshit excuse. I'm going to the casino tonight. My husband's in Vegas. I'm going to the casino tonight. I have nothing to get up for tomorrow, and I'm going to go get a late lunch somewhere. So I'm excited about going to the casino, sleeping in tomorrow, and having a late lunch. All right, bye. Well, I wasn't going to film anymore because I kind of forgot because I went to the casino and it's really late. I like didn't spend any money at the casino this week. I just like won tonight, so I left and I like won and then I lost what I won, so I like left with exactly what I came with. So it was a good weekend. Alex just texted me. He's at Marquee Club in Las Vegas with his cousin, and he was like, I'm getting ready to go on stage, which, you know, he loves DJ so much. He's so excited about that. I'm happy for him. And he comes home tomorrow. He will be coming home tomorrow at like 11 p.m. So I'm miss him. I'm ready to see him. He's only been gone for what, it'll be three nights total, but it feels like it's been forever. I know the dogs are going to be happy to see him. And then it's the week before Christmas. The week before Christmas. And it's officially my sobriety birthday. It's weird, like, the night before, like right now, going into it, the day, when I get up, I always remember, like, that last day or, like, the week before. And if you haven't checked it out, I did a whole video on my Peterisms channel about my last, like, night using. But it's really weird, like, what I remember. I, like, remember, I mean, like, after getting up and stuff that day, but, like, I remember, like, it was right here, you guys. Do you want to see where it was? Literally, you can't see it anymore because Perkins Restaurant no longer exists, but Perkins was right where that Verizon is, right? Do you see right there? And that ditch right there is a ditch that I put my car into, which is not a ditch anymore. It's just a lawn, but it used to be a ditch. And this was the White Castle that I was trying to make it to. See, this right here was all, like, this was all Perkins. And then the White Castle was there. And I came, like, tearing down through here, passed out, driving my car, and, like, drove into the kitchen, hit the back of the kitchen, and then went into the ditch. How I'm still even alive is beyond me. I mean, like, I have no clue how I'm still alive. Like, I must have been tearing out of here at, like, 80 or something like that, because I came around here. I was trying to go into White Castle, I guess. I don't really know what I was trying to do. And, I'll just wheel back around and show you. So, over there, whereas Five Below and, like, Burlington Coat Factory, but way down there was Kroger grocery store. So I, like, turned down here and then, like, went, you see? And then this was the parking lot right over here. And that was the back of the restaurant, was right there. And I literally, like, tore through the back of the kitchen and then, like, went boom like that into the ditch. I had totaled my car putting it in the ditch. That's how fast I was going. And I took out the back, like, siding of the restaurant. So, yeah, it's weird to think that, like, but I always think of, like, that last day, like, going into it, and then, like, tomorrow night, like, my focus will be, like, of me being in treatment. And it's weird because, like, as much as I didn't want to be there, I really fought my, like, first week. Like, I was, like, begging people to come and get me. And it was like a blizzard. It's really weird. Like, we haven't had any snow yet this year. It was like blizzard that year. It was, like, literally, like, 1.5 feet of snow out. Snowed that entire week. I remember I had my friend Clara. I was like, the day, like, like my second day in detox, I called her and I said, will you bring me some? My dad wouldn't bring me anything. My mom wouldn't answer the phone because my dad had told my mom, don't pick up the phone, because if you pick up the phone, Peter will manipulate you into coming to getting him. And he had called all my friends and told them to not, like, come and get me. And the only friend of mine, well, two friends, my friend Heather and that I had since kindergarten, and my friend Clara, and he didn't really know Clara. And so Clara came and she brought me some books, like that second day. I remember her standing in my room, but I can't believe they let her back there into detox. And then Heather brought me, I asked for a Veda shampoo and conditioner, which is what I must have used back then, and a carton of cigarettes. And Heather brought me a carton of cigarettes and that, and I remember holding up this, like, hospital footy to Clara and being like, look at what my life has become. And it's interesting, like, Heather was who picked me up from treatment. I don't talk much about that on here. Heather and I aren't that. We just reconnected earlier this year. Remember I said something about my friend that I met I saw at the Meyer, and she and I, like, stood there and talked forever. Like, Heather was my friend from elementary, junior high, high school, college, graduate school, and we kind of fell out because Heather got super, super religious, but she's not really so much like that anymore. And so we kind of, like, reconnected in the last year, which is really nice when that happens, you know, as you get older. And I don't have any issue with the religiosity. I want to make that clear. It was that Heather's religiosity had an issue with me being gay. And after all of the years that we have been friends, I mean, we were literally friends from, like, kindergarten through, like, good friends. And been through so much together. And a friend of ours, that he killed himself, and that was about the time that Heather, like, started going to, like, church. This is none of my business to tell her story, so I shouldn't tell it. But anyway, and we're fine now. We're friends again and talk and stuff. So, but Heather saved my life. I mean, Heather was the friend. I'll never forget the first night that I used cocaine. And she said, the first time I ever used cocaine was with this drag queen named Lolly. And she was from out of town, and she was like a cocaine dealer. And I remember, I mean, she wasn't in drag when we were doing cocaine, not that it should matter, but, like, I'm not trying to paint this, like, caricature of what it was. And I just remember this guy sitting there, and he was, like, in, like, sweatpants and, like, some Disney t-shirt, and we were, like, sitting around my friend Duke's apartment. Duke's the one that killed himself, so, I mean, he's gone, so I guess I can tell that story. I don't know, but we were sitting around there, and I was so excited to use cocaine. I had wanted to use cocaine my entire life. And I think that was probably, like, late. No, that would have been late in the summer of the year before. And Lolly was like, we're going to smoke it, and we're going to snort it, and we're going to gum it, and we're going to do it all these different ways. And I was so excited. She's like, we're going to smoke Primos, and I was so excited. And my friend Heather was, like, begging me not to do it. She's like, do not do this. She's like, you are such an addict, Peter. She's like, I'm afraid it's going to kill you. I sat up that night from, like, my friend Heather was a panicked mess in the bedroom. She was, because we were all sitting around drinking and stuff, and then this Lolly came over and was staying with my friend Duke. But Heather was, like, panicked that I was gonna, like, get hooked on cocaine, or that I was gonna die or something like that. And she was so mad that I did it. And I was like, Heather, you need to settle the fuck down, dude. Like, seriously, like, I can handle my shit. And I did so much cocaine the first night that I used cocaine. And this is very telling of me being, like, extremely ADHD, because what it did was it calmed me down, like, which is what a stimulant does for somebody that's ADHD. She's like, you're never gonna sleep, you're gonna be manic, you're gonna be up for days. I did so much cocaine that I literally went home and slept for 15 hours. And I fell in love with it. I loved it. I loved gumming cocaine. I loved the taste of it, which I think is strange, but a lot of cocaine addicts say that. And I instantly fell in love with cocaine. I did not like smoking marijuana, although I did a lot, but it felt very dirty to me. The smell was dirty. I didn't like the dirty. I had like a real weirdness about cleanliness. And Alex is texting me. I asked him who the DJ was at Jason Lima. I don't know who that is. And I liked pills. I liked Vicodin because it was clean. I liked alcohol, and I liked cocaine. And cocaine liked me, and it was very expensive. And I got hooked that quick. And then I started dating this guy that was really shady town. And he kind of dealt cocaine. He didn't kinda, he dealt cocaine. And that was just bad. That was just bad news. I mean, it's like, I look back on that and I think like this is so crazy, you know, that I was like doing cocaine daily, and I was like dating a cocaine dealer that like stole shit and pawned it. Like, that was my life, you know? I look back on that and I'm like, and what's crazy was that like, we started dating like the summer before I went into treatment, which would have been a year after I got like into cocaine. But not a year, but like 8 months. And I remember he thought I was so messy. He was like, you're so he didn't, I mean, we didn't use that word messy, but he was like, you're out of control. Like, you're out of control. And I was like, don't tell me. Don't tell me what to fucking do. Like, nobody's gonna tell me what to do, right? And like, I look back at that and I think what a mess he was. And he thought I was a mess, you know? Like, that's telling. And I was consumed with him when I was in treatment. I like tried to get a hold of all my friends and find out who he was dating and who he was sleeping with and all this kind of stuff. And I was constantly on the payphones, and I'll never forget. My counselor walked out, and I was like talking to my friend on the phone. I was like, so, did you see him last night? Who is he out with? Blah, 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 whatever. And she came over and she looked at me and she goes, you need to get off the phone. And then I said, I'll be off in just a second. And I said to my friend again, I was like, okay, what did you say? Like, what? And she goes, you need to get off the phone now. And I said, you need to give me a break. Okay, this is a payphone, whatever. And she's put her fingers down the phone. She goes, it's like one of those old school payphones, you know? She goes, you're done using the payphone to keep connected to your outside world. It's over. You're done. You're not doing that shit anymore. She was so good. She's still a friend of mine. I still talk to her on a regular basis. Anna, she saved my life. She told me the things I didn't want to hear. You know, she told me the shit that I needed to hear that nobody else was willing to say to me. I mean, to hang up the phone on me, you know? I went into her office. I'll never forget this. Okay, so back when I went to treatment, places like Chrysler and Rolls-Royce, not like the car, but like the engine factory that's here in town, and, like Ford and all these places, they, like, would get 30 days of treatment a year. So these dudes would check in to treatment, like, the month of December as a vacation, okay? But they had no intention of quitting using. So here's my group, all right, with all these tough-ass factory guys. And it's me, okay, with all these tough-ass factory guys. And I, like, walked into my counselor's office, like, the first morning before group. And I said, are you Anna? Are you my counselor? And she said, yeah. And I said, can I talk to you for a second? And she's like, yeah. And she said, and I said, okay, so I'm gay, but that's not why I'm here, and I don't want to talk about it in group. And she goes, okay. She goes, so you don't think that anybody knows that you're gay? And I go, well, what are you saying? She goes, well, do you think people might have... She goes, I said, nobody's going to ask, so it's not going to matter. She goes, well, do you think it's an issue? Like, don't you think that might be an issue? And I go, no, I don't think it's an issue at all, and I'm not talking about it. course, I was perfectly fine with being gay, obviously, or I would have given me a break, you know. I went to my counselor's office and said this. So we sit down in group that morning, and she goes, we have a new patient with us today. She goes, this is Peter. He's gay, but he doesn't want any of us to talk about it. I was going to hit her. And then so I had to go through my drug history, and she was like, we got to the marijuana part, and I said, she goes, well, how much do you drink a day? I go, I don't know, not a lot. And I didn't have any problem being honest. I wasn't one of those people that said I drink 2 beers and I actually drink 20, you know? She goes, well, how much do you drink a day? I said, I don't know, 1/5 and a half of Jack Daniels a day, 2/5 of Jack Daniels a day. I said, you know, lots of malt liquor. I like Colt 45. And she said, okay. These guys loved this drug history. I mean, she let me have it. I didn't realize that they were in there for a lot less, you know? She goes, pills, and I said, yeah, I like pills, Percocets, and, you know, Vicodin. I eat pills, and she's like, well, how many pills are you eating a day? I don't know, 5, 10 Vicodin a day, a couple Percocets, you know. I mean, I went through the whole pill thing. Flexerils. I loved pills. I kind of like to have just been out of it all the time, to be honest with you, and not ever have to feel anything, which is really good thing that, like, well, I never got into Klonopin, luckily, but Xanax wasn't around. But I think if Xanax had been around, I don't think I'd be here right now. I really don't. Because I think I would have just lost my mind on Xanax and drinking, which is a deadly combination. So, somebody actually, I said in one of my videos, I said, it's hard to overdose on Xanax, which is true, actually. So don't come for me. I'm an expert in addiction. I know this, okay? It's really hard to overdose on Xanax alone. Xanax combined with alcohol is a deadly combination. I'm not educating people on trying to go out there and take as much Xanax as possible. If you want to kill yourself on Xanax, it is possible, okay? But don't do it. I'm not telling you to do that. But what I'm saying is, like, it's not as easy to do that as it is on, like, oxycodone or something like that. It's, you know, a lot easier on oxycodone. So it's like it's kind of like a hard drug to, like, it's like cocaine, like withdrawals. Like, you don't really go through, like, severe withdrawals from cocaine. They're like in 10-day cycles. So anyway, but alcohol withdrawals are horrible. And if you're a serious heavy drinker out there, don't ever try to quit drinking on your own. You could go into DTs or seizures and kill yourself. So anyway, but we got to the marijuana part, and she said, well, do you smoke pot? And I go, yeah. And she goes, well, how much pot do you smoke a day? I said, about the same as everybody else. She goes, well, how much pot do you smoke? I said, I don't know, about a ½ ounce a day. I mean, these men lost their shit. She goes, you smoke a ½ ounce of marijuana a day, and you think that's how much everybody smokes? I said, yeah. I said, it ain't a joint unless it's as thick as my thumb. And she goes, well, we need to talk. I said, hey, listen. If you think that I'm going to stop smoking weed, okay, I ain't here for that. I'm here for the marijuana, or I'm here for the alcohol, I'm here for the cocaine. I'm not stopping smoking weed. That's not gonna, we didn't call it weed back then. I said, I'm not stopping smoking pot. It's not gonna happen, okay? So we need to just get off that shit. She goes, well, I'll tell you something, Peter. She goes, when you're ready to start talking about your marijuana addiction, why don't you come back to group? Until then, princess, she called me princess. She goes, until then, princess, she goes, you can escort yourself out of here. I was like, did I just get kicked out of group on the first day? Sure as shit did. I sat my ass in my room for the next 3 days. I thought she'll sooner or later come to her turn. She'll come around. She'll ask me to come back to group. She sure didn't. I went back into group with my tail between my legs. So embarrassed. I was such a mess, you guys. I was such a mess. That's why I was crying earlier. It's like I look back on that person. Like, who was that person? Like, even as I'm sitting here telling the story, it's like my dialect kind of changes. It's like, who was I? Like, that I talked that way to people, you know? It was craziness. It just was like... Alex is texting me. Okay, the yellow light is coming on, which means it's hot. So I'm going to stop this for a second, let it cool down. I'll be right back. Okay, I hope it's cooled down a little bit. Alex is sending me pictures of this, him and this DJ and his cousin dancing on stage. I think that's why I get so emotional thinking back on it, you know? It's like, I didn't plan for that. Like, I didn't plan for that to be who I was. You know what I mean? Like, remember those old drug commercials, and they're like, nobody plans for this to be their life. It's the truth, though, you know? It's like, I didn't plan for that to be my life. I didn't plan when I was at, 12 or 13 or 14 years old, when I was like sneaking alcohol and I was in my pajamas in my room in my dad's house, watching movies, and I liked that fuzzy feeling that it gave me, that made me happy and made me laugh. That's really how it started, I can remember sitting at on the floor on the edge in front of my bed watching my little TV. I had this like little TV, like a VCR, and I would watch movies in there and like drank at like 14 and 13, Like, that's weird. I look back on that and I think that's weird. And but I remember like I kept alcohol in the bathroom, and I would go in the bathroom and I would like sneak it, and that I had stolen from my dad and my stepmom, and I would like fill up my glass and rosy cheeked, and fuzzy feeling, and then like I would lay in bed and I had those stars on my ceiling, those, star stickers, and I would listen to the soundtrack of Edward Scissorhands. And what am I doing here? I'm trying to like turn around, and there's like nowhere to turn around. I'm like off the road. What am I doing? Okay, and then I would like lay there in bed and just like swirl, and I loved that feeling of just, uneasiness and swirling. And it's so interesting. Somebody was asking me tonight in my live stream if I'm a adrenaline junkie, and I'm not at all. Like, I'm not a risk taker. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. And what's interesting about that is you would think that as an addict and an alcoholic I would be, but it's like once I got sober, I kind of like my feet on the ground, to be honest with you, It's like, I used to love being out of control. I love that feeling of being out of control, and I hate it now. I don't like it at all. But that's how it started for me at 12 years old. And then it ended 23 years ago. This night, 23 years ago, and I think it was a Sunday night. Is it a Sunday night tonight? No, it's a Saturday night. It was a Sunday night because we had gone to the Vogue in Broderpool, which is it's a straight bar, regular bar, and on a Sunday night they used to have this gay night called Boing, and we went. I actually went with my friend Heather. I met her there, I think. And I was intoxicated before I showed up. She introduced me to this guy named Tom that ended up becoming my first boyfriend literally the week after I got out of treatment. Did everything I wanted. He was gorgeous. He still is gorgeous. And he was an attorney, and he was a really nice guy, and I kind of fucked that whole thing up. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, we're just not real healthy in early sobriety. That's why they tell us not to get in relationships, but I didn't listen to what anybody had to say until I'd finally done it enough that I realized my way wasn't working. But he's a really nice, good guy. We're friends on Facebook. I know where he's at and what he does and all that kind of stuff. But she introduced me to him, and she's like, I've been telling him about you, and I thought you guys would be perfect together. Heather was always trying to hook me up with the best guy, and he really was. I mean, he would have been a perfect boyfriend, Well, he was a perfect boyfriend for a little while. And then the night is gone. And then, like, I remember standing in the alley outside, and it's snowing. And, like, I had watched Charlie Brown's Christmas that earlier on that day. Like, I had it just, like, on repeat. It was, like, I had the VCR tape of it, and I would, like, watch it, rewind it, watch it, rewind it, watch it, rewind it, like, all day long. I used to do that, like, manically. And I did that while I was, like, smoking weed and, like, drinking, and, like, I had taken a bunch of pills, and that was just a normal day for me, And, I kept on having like that scene in my head where they're like trying to like get snowflakes on their tongue. And I remember I was smoking crack in that alley with this girl. And I don't remember who she is. And I don't know that I ever knew who she was. And I remember I was like trying to catch snowflakes on my tongue. And then the next thing I know, my friend Jack was there. And Jack was like my first boyfriend that I ever had. He was so cute. He was an artist. And he was so funny. He'd be like, Peter. Oh, he was so cute. Jack died a couple years ago. And kind of just, I always attract those lost soul types, you know? Peter. Anyway, he was a good guy. And he was like, can you take me back to my house? Jack never had a phone, never had a car, nothing. He never had any. He was an artist, don't you know? And so I said, fine, I'll take you back to your house. He lived like way far away from where we were, like half an hour, 25 minutes. And so I think he didn't really realize like how fucked up I was until we got in the car, and then he was like, let me drive, and I was like, fine, let you drive. I remember this one time, Jack and I got in this car, Jack and I were like going downtown. This was when we were dating, and I like got in a car accident with this guy. I rear-ended him, and the guy like must not have had car insurance, or the car was stolen or something, but like I was so fucked up, and he was like, Jack and I used to drink together, and he was like, this guy was like, dude, it's cool, like, I'll just go party with you guys. And we're like, no, we're like going to a gay bar. And he's like, oh, I'll go with you guys to a gay bar. I still don't know what the shake was. I really don't. But this guy like went with us to this gay bar and everything. We never exchanged information about the car. And I remember like I kept on driving past this car like for like the next 2 weeks, and it just sat there on the side of the road. And I was like, that is like so shifty, whatever happened. But I remember Jack and I were trying to lose him at this gay bar. We were like, we have got to lose this dude. But anyway, I went to Jack's back to his house. He like rented this house. It was a real cute house. I don't know why I remember it being cute, but it was. And we sat around, and he was like, you're gonna stay here tonight. And I was like, no, I want to go home. Like, whenever I drank, I wanted to be home. I wanted to be in bed. I wanted to be safe. It was something that my mother, she was the same exact way. He was like, Peter, you cannot drive. And he like took my keys. He goes, well, I took your keys from you anyway, and I hid them, so you can't drive. And I was like, fuck you, I'm leaving. He goes, no. I go, well, the only way I'll stay is if you let me drink. And so he had all this beer there. He had like a case of beer, and he was like, fine. He goes, you can drink. He was like, but you're staying here. I hid your keys anyway. He goes, and I'm going to bed, so you sit out here and drink and do whatever you need to do, or walk home, or whatever you need to do. But I mean, this was like a half an hour for me driving. It would have been like 3 hours of a walk, you know, if even that, maybe more. And so, because that was like a half an hour by interstate. So I sat there, you know, and I was like, 15 minutes, I think an hour, 15 minutes, an hour, I don't know even how long went by, but I was done. I was like pissed. I was like, I want to go home. And I was going through these tapes. I remember I took these tapes of his, this like Tori Amos tape, which I can't stand Tori Amos. I don't know why I took that tape, but, and this like Sarah McLachlan tape, the one that has that ice cream song on it, and Will You Remember Me? That song always makes me so sad. I always think of Jack whenever I hear that song. And I put it like in my coat pocket. I had this like biker jacket on, and I like loaded my pocket up with all of these beers. I had like 6 beers, and I like cracked one open, and I like crept into his room, and I was like, Jack. I was like, Jack, just let me sleep in here tonight. And he was like snoring, and I don't know how I found those keys. Like they were like in his underwear drawer, and I found them, and I like left. I like ran outside. And I was like, so I remember like walking outside and like falling. Like as soon as I like stepped outside, I like fell. And I thought it was so funny. And I just sat there, and it was like, he lived in like this area of town called Fountain Square. And it was like really like old streets, but like city streets. And I remember I looked, and like there was like a city light, and it was like, you know, like a street light. And it was like the snow was just like falling perfectly. And I remember thinking about Charlie Brown's Christmas. And I was like, sitting on the ground, laughing my ass off. I shouldn't even be here. like, I shouldn't even be here, you know? I think sometimes, like, why I try to do good in the world is because I think, like, I don't deserve to be here. Like, you know? And so, like, I feel like I'm making up for it sometimes. I was really not a good person to a lot of people. I really hurt a lot of people. And I've made amends for those behaviors, and I've taken responsibility, and I've fixed my life, but still sometimes it doesn't feel like enough, you know? Like, I was talking to my dad on the phone yesterday, and I said, my birthday's on Sunday, my sobriety birthday. And he was like, has it really been, how long has it been now? And I said, 23 years. He's like, I'll never forget that night. You know, and I think of all of the moments of my life that I'd like my dad to remember, that sure is not the night that I would like my dad to remember, you know? And I know my dad is really proud of me. I mean, he always tells me that. He's like, I'm so proud of you, Peter. He's like, you know, he's heard from so many professionals, like, you know, Peter is like, when I was working in the field, he would call me and be like, oh my God, this doctor said you're like the best, you know, that like every kid in town, like their parents want you as a counselor, you know, and like you can't get into, you're so booked. And, you know, like, I mean, he's been very proud of me, you know, but he won't forget that night, and I'll never forget that night, and my stepmom will never forget that night, you know. About it, I'm like so happy. I'm like, I feel like I was reborn literally that day, you know. It's like something just, you know, and it's so weird. Like, it's so weird. You never know when your last day is gonna be. Like, like, I don't mean in life, but like, well, that too, I guess. But like, you never know, like, as an addict or an alcoholic, like when your last use is gonna be, you know. Like, I had gone through so many treatment programs. I had tried to quit using on my own so many times. I had no clue that was going to be it. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I had absolutely no clue that December 17th of 1994 was going to be, December 16th of 1994 was going to be the last day that I ever used a drug or drank. I never in a million years would have guessed that. I just had no clue. I mean, you might as well just go to like a calendar and go boop, like that. I mean, who knew? You know, I didn't know. But I am so grateful for it, and I am so thankful for it. And, you know, I've talked about this on another video, but like that night I had this real spiritual experience in my car. And, where I was like driving like this, but I don't remember touching the wheel, and there was somebody in my passenger seat, and I remember looking over to talk to him, and there was nobody there. And I don't know how to tell you to convince you that that's true, and I don't know that I care to convince anybody that that's true, but for me, like, it is very much real. This feeling that something was in control of that car that day, and I wasn't it. And I don't know, I think maybe I was given some kind of chance, you know, to make something of my life and do something good. I don't know, maybe, you know, like, it's been a tough year sober. I've had 2 friends of mine go back out, you know, 2 really good friends of mine that had long-term sobriety, and my circle of friends in sobriety has gotten smaller. You know, my aunt passed away. She was like really the only one that really understood anything in my family. I mean, my dad and my stepmom, but like on, you know, other than that, it's just been a hard year. And you know, you get sober, and I mean, not everything gets better. Shit still happens. You know what I mean? Like, but But shit still happens and I'm sober, and that's the difference, you know, is that I have a design for living today. I have a way to take responsibility for my actions and to, you know, clean up my mistakes when I make them, and live a right life. And that's a real gift. It's a huge gift, you know? And I think that's why, like, I'm so Christmassy anymore, because, like, for me, it's like this whole time between the 17th and, like, the 25th is, like, when I was, like, my first 2 weeks, my first 10 days in treatment. It's like they were, like, this really spiritual moment for me. And in the next 2 weeks, I'll probably talk a lot about those first 2 days in treatment, you know? But it was just this very spiritual experience for me. And, everything from rec therapy to standing outside smoking cigarettes in the bitter cold, you know, all of it to me was a very spiritual experience. I don't even know how to explain it to you. And I don't mean like a godly thing, or I don't mean like a religious thing. I mean, it was like a soul changing experience for me that I didn't expect and that I was completely resistant to and I wanted no part of. And yet I couldn't stop it from happening. It was like happening to me and I couldn't stop it. And thank God, you know, like, where would I be otherwise? Dead, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure of it. So anyway, like we say, it's a good day to be sober, you know? It's a good day to be alive. My first sponsor used to say, every day that you wake up and you're not 6 feet under and you're still breathing is a good day. You got a chance, you know? Somebody will get sober today on my sobriety day, and that's a cool thing. And somebody will die from this disease of addiction too, you know? And that's a sad thing. The greatest thing that has come from me doing YouTube have been all of the messages from people telling me how much they relate to my story, how much I've made them think about things, how much people have shared their own sobrieties with me, no matter if they have 30 years or 7 years or 2 months or whatever. And it's like, it's so cool to see. I already knew it, but to see that all over the world, sober people exist and we're living good lives, and that you can have that too, you know? And I think that's all I've ever wanted to do since I was Be Sober, was to be a testament to that, you know? Really supposed to talk about it on social media, you know? And I know there's some people that don't agree with me sharing my story of sobriety, but I've never broken the rules, and I will call them that, of the program that I am in purposefully, because I am protective of that, because I believe so much and I'm so passionate about the program that I am in. And the one thing I will say is that, I'm trying to say it not in the words that it's set in, but it's a program of people basically asking me questions, not me going to them. And so what I've tried to do on my channels is just share a little bit of my life and what your life can look like if you're sober, and that you can have a chance, you know? And I remember when I got sober, I thought I wasn't going to go back to college. I thought to myself, I can work in a coffee shop for the rest of my life and live in a little small apartment. I'm completely content to that, you know? My desires and my wants were very small. If only I could stay alive. And I look back on that and I think, I got that and so much more, you know? So much more. So tomorrow, expect probably a treatment story, because I'll be thinking a lot about my first couple days in treatment tomorrow. And thank you guys so much for the support. You're such good listeners. Do you know that? How can you not be, right? No, but seriously, it's like, it's really nice to drive around and just talk out loud and just like, you just gonna let me do that? No, buddy. And I look like a crazy fool if I was talking to myself. I mean, I look like a crazy fool right now. Look at this house. I just have to show you this really quick, because I'm talking about the simple things in life that are so pretty. Look at that. It's like, anyway, I guess on camera it doesn't look as pretty through my dirty window as it looked to me. But yeah, thank you for listening. I mean, it's nice to relive these moments and to look back on my life. I think we all should do it, you know? The highs and the lows. Alright, you guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm gonna go home and cuddle with my dogs. I love you. Bye.